Hello, hello, John Murdoch, Cityscape Metro Group. Look at us. We're getting fancy now with a back screen and a backdrop, but wanted to spend a little bit more time on what's going in the market and how you can take advantage of it. There's always benefits in different markets. And I believe it laying everything out, but by the time you hear about it on the news, it's 90 days too late. Like now everybody's starting to hear that prices are coming down. Well, we saw that back in June, July, right? And so, by the time you hear about it in the news, it's typically too late. What you get from us is happening right now. So I mean, now we're in October. You'll probably start hearing, what's happening in October, December, January of this year. But by then it'll be too late, right? You're not making decisions based on what's happening. So the biggest question that I've been receiving as a real estate agent is, how do you sell your home in today's unpredictable real estate market, right? Everybody's trying to figure out how they can maximize price, how they can still sell their home for top dollar. And you can. We are just in a totally, completely different real estate market. And so a couple things I want to address. I've got 6 key points that I want to walk through with you so that you are better educated, you're better informed. And so without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. Now, I was in a big meeting with a bunch of real estate agents, probably over 100 of them last week. And the question was, raise your hand if you're seeing the market change and prices come down. And almost every real estate agent put their hand up. And so, a lot of sellers are saying, hey, how do I price my home competitively? I want to get top dollar. And when a seller says top dollar, they're seeing what their neighbor sold, back in May, and they're thinking that's a good comparable. Well, the problem is that's no longer a good comparable. And the reason why you need to get really you need to take a look at things is in May when that person sold, they got, that buyer got a 3 or 4% interest rate. Well, now rates are 6 and 7%. Some people are getting quoted over 7%. So it's a totally different real estate market. So you got to make sure that you're pricing it competitively. So that's number one. And prices most of the time in most neighborhoods, this is happening. There's still some areas and some pockets that they're still retaining their value, but most areas, you need to price it competitively and under what the last sale was. And so that's number one. Number two is finding comparable sales is more challenging. You need to take a look at more so what's pending and the price that the pending is at. Typically, by something is sold, by the time you see it sold, it's already too late, and you can't really use that as a comparable because rates are going up so fast. That's number two. Number three, we're seeing increased days on market. We're not seeing 6 and 9 months. We're just seeing, from 10 days to maybe 14 or 3 weeks to 14 to 21 days, depending on how you're looking at it. So that's number three. Number four, I would expect buyers to be asking for closing cost assistance, or keeping in their home inspection contingencies and financing contingencies and appraisal contingencies. Expect to see those. Number five, be ready to offer benefits to a buyer, meaning, money towards buying the buyer's interest rate down. That's a very big and impactful one that we've been doing recently. So be ready to offer some benefits. And then number six, and this is probably the most important, everyone has become a real estate agent in the past 3 years because the market's been so good. So just be sure that if you are buying or selling in even the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, be sure that you're going with somebody who has more experience and can navigate the waters. Like, for example, I mean, we've been selling real estate. I've been selling real estate for the past almost 10 years now. We've helped over 500 families. And so, I've kind of seen everything, and a lot of agents that have gotten into the business in the past 3 years, they've only seen transactions to where people are waiving everything. So there's no speed bumps, or there's no home inspection, repair, negotiation, happening, or dealing with appraisals. Like none of those things happened over the past 3 years, or was very seldom. So just make sure you're going with somebody experienced who has been down this road before. That's that has navigated a lot of those negotiations and handling, and it's really making it a win-win for both sides, as much as you can preserve the equity for a seller as possible. So, with the significant increase on interest rates rising, I don't foresee pricing getting any better in the next 6 to 12 months. So if you're looking at selling, if I were you, I'd consider doing it now. At least meet with somebody and go through the options to say, hey, if I were to sell right now versus if I were to sell next year, what are my options? And what should I be looking at? And what would that look like? So just I would be more open-minded about it. So feel free to reach out to us if you are looking to sell in the next 6 to 12 months and you say, hey, you know what? I might consider doing it now. I was thinking about doing it next year, but I kind of want to take a look at all of my options. And on the flip side, I'm getting some people asking me saying, they're saying, John, you know, I want to sell, but then I want to buy as well, right? And they're saying, well, I want to sell when it's high and I want to buy when it's low. And the biggest thing is what you need to keep in mind is, first off, everybody wants to sell when it's high and buy when it's low. I don't think there's a single person that doesn't want to do that. And it doesn't really matter the market that you're in. Like, for example, in May or April this year, if you sold and bought, you were selling at a high, but you're also buying at a high. But the benefit to you doing that is, you got a relatively low interest rate, 3 or 4% compared to 7% now, right? So you sold when it was high, you bought when it was high, but your payment was extremely affordable. Now you're selling when it's not as high, so prices are coming down a little bit. So you might not get as much as you could, but you're also turning around and buying for less, right? So that home that you're buying now was worth a whole lot more in the spring, but now it's a whole lot less. So there's a different conversation about mortgage rates and where they're at. And obviously if you own a home right now, your mortgage rate was probably 2.5 to 3%. Where it's most likely right now, probably going to be closer to 6.5 and 7% as of today. And so obviously that's a factor in the equation, but every big financial institution is predicting over the next 6 and 12 months that rates will be coming back down. So what everybody's kind of bracing for is a big refinance boom. So like, for example, in 2020, every homeowner that, in the whole United States refinanced. I know I saved about 30% of my mortgage payment just by refinancing. So I cut a lot off. Well, they're seeing that same trend come in the next 6, 12, possibly 18 months. So they're seeing another refinance boom. So if you buy right now and you have a little bit higher rate, first off, you want to be comfortable with that rate. But then second of all, just understand that rates will probably be coming back down in the not too distant future. So just keep that in mind. But again, if you're looking at selling and you want to know options as opposed to, hey, what do my options look like right now versus what do you think it looks like next spring? We're happy to come out, take a look, and give you our 2 cents on it. We're a big believer on giving people options. And so you know how to get a hold of us, John Murdoch, Cityscape Metro Group. Reach out to us, and hopefully this was helpful, and we'll talk to you all soon.